In a recent poll, not content with being known as God's own country, Yorkshire overtook Kent's claim to being the Garden of England. We're looking at 3 great places to stay, all B&Bs set in glorious Yorkshire countryside, plus one of the great gardens of the north of England and a couple of spectacular picnic spots. All have something unique to offer. We start at Central House Farm. It's one of a small handful of working farms nestled together in Havre Park, part of the ancient forest of Knaresborough, in medieval times owned by John of Gaunt. The farmhouse, however, isn't quite that old.
It was built in about 1850. The whole Havre Park estate was owned by the Ingleby family at Ripley Castle. We have sheep and cattle. It's a lovely, lovely place to live, nice and quiet, and 10-minute drive from out of Harrogate, but in the middle of the countryside.
Pickersgill Manor Farm was built just a few years ago by Lisa and her husband Marcus on Silsden Moor, south of Skipton.
Right out of the kitchen window is a hill called Windygate Nick, which is my favourite place in the world. There's a seat in memory of my granddad up there because they farmed just over the other side. When you're on the seat, you can see Bolton Abbey, you can see Ilkley off to the right. Wherever I was taken as a child, you can see it from that seat. And now you can see the house that we built.
Lisa now takes her own children to Bolton Abbey, a traditional picnic spot with its 80 miles of footpaths and, of course, the grand old ruins of the Priory and some tempting stepping stones. And they can also walk on Ilkley Moor with the famous Cow and Calf rocks. Ed Loft and his partner Penny Jones only opened Cotes as a B&B recently, although they've lived there since 1984. The gardens have been developed with the help of Phil Horn over the last 10 years, and Ed's poetry is scattered through them.
A lot of the poems are associated to certain areas of the gardens. There's one with regards to what is now the Pink Chocolate Garden. It's been a challenging plot. It's only the last 2 years that it's taken shape, really. And we decided Ed should write a poem about that it was once a bonfire pile and now it's a blossom of pink flowers.
And there are many lovely gardens close by.
Newby Hall, Percival Hall, both within half an hour's driving distance from here. Get a lot of people coming to stay purely for a visit to Harlow Carr.
The RHS gardens at Harlow Carr started life as trial beds to assess plants that would grow well in the northern climate. That was 60 years ago. Today it's much more, but still has time to reflect its Yorkshire roots by paying homage to some classic local produce.
That's the Yorkshire Rhubarb, Crumble and Custard Garden, and that won the People's Choice Award at the Chelsea Flower Show in 2010. That was a really interesting garden and a great feature for Yorkshire as well.
And it's a great place to visit whatever time of year you come.
In the autumn we have such strong colours, it even looks great blanketed in snow, and then of course you've got the spring and summer months which people really associate with lots of colour. And the great thing about the garden is that it is a working garden, so visitors can take inspirational tips for themselves for their gardens at home.
At Central House Farm, Jane Ryder's style mixes the old and the new, and an unusual broad stairway leads up to her bedrooms, each with its own style.
I really enjoy decorating. I like wallpapering and I like getting the different colour schemes all matching together. I stick with the traditional style decorating because of the tradition of the house, the age of the house, but I do put a few modern twists in, and I like the colours to be nice and bright.
Jane also draws inspiration from the gardens at Harlow Carr, which are just a few miles down the road.
And then after you've had a walk around the gardens, it's nice to have a drink in the Betty's tea room.
As well as the B&B, Lisa at Pickersgill Manor Farm also draws on her 11 years at Betty's in their chocolate and cake decorating department. It adds a touch of theatre for her guests over breakfast in her kitchen.
I'll make breakfast, and if they're all chatting, I might start decorating a little bit of a cake so they get a little bit of an idea. A cake I made a couple of weeks ago for a farmer's wife. She was 50 and she plays dominoes. So the cake had 2 pigs and 2 cows playing dominoes. The odd chicken here and there. So guests, if they come back at about 4 o'clock, they might just pop in to see what's gone onto the cake.
At Cotes, their gardens are also a productive part of the business. The nursery started after they opened as part of the National Garden Scheme.
We started selling a few plants that we had spare left over, and that's extended from there. This year we really do hope that it will prove successful. So far this year it is proving very successful, with both guests here and people in the local area also.
They've added tea rooms, meeting rooms, and offer a variety of courses. Joanna Russell looks after this side of things, all with a similar ethos, with the garden at its heart.
We do hear from people that they find it tranquil and peaceful. We had someone come stay who was having a difficult time with her personal life, and she sat in the garden for 2 days and felt so much better afterwards. We call ourselves a special place to be because that's what we hear from other people.
3 very different places to stay, each with their own character and some fascinating places to visit, in this lovely part of God's own county.